The following program is made possible in part by the American Legion Auxiliary Department of Arizona and the West Valley Foundation, celebrating diversity.
My name is Lee Owens. I spent 21 years, 5 months, 12 days, 2 hours in the United States Air Force, but I didn't keep count. And it was the most valuable experience I have ever had. It taught me to be a man at 19 years old. It taught me to work with others, to believe in this country, to believe in the flag, believe in America, and to believe that this country is great because of veterans, people who are willing to put their lives on the line every day. Crop dusters basically fly like acrobatic pilots, very low to the ground, very fast. And as I grew up and got a little older, like 14 and 15, I got to be the flag guy. And I thought that was so cool. He come flying over my head really fast, and I run to the next row, and he line up on me and fly. So that's how I got my start in aviation, because no one in my family flew. Not everybody's going to be 6'11" and play basketball. Never everybody's going to be able to sing like Ray Charles. But anybody can be me. All you have to do is be educated, study hard, work on a dream, and as I said earlier in this, get gratification for what you do. Learn to fly an airplane, because it teaches you discipline, it teaches you reward, it teaches you focus, it teaches you to stay on point, to know what you have to do. I can ask a young person at air shows who is 50 Cent. They can tell me everything about 50 Cent, but they can't tell me anything about Benjamin O. Davis. They can't tell me anything about Bessie Coleman. They can't tell me anything about the Tuskegee Airmen. And my job is to educate them to their rich and glorious history that they have in these people that have done some extraordinary things under some very difficult situations. In 1941, Congress set up a program called the Tuskegee Experiment. They didn't even call it flight training. It was used to train young African American pilots to fight in World War II. These pilots, after graduating, became the Tuskegee Airmen. They started out as the 99th Pursuit Squadron, and they were sent to Europe. Finally, after Eleanor Roosevelt came to Moulton Field, Alabama, to see why these black pilots weren't sent to overseas to fight for their country. And with the help of Eleanor Roosevelt, was dispatched to Europe, where they flew more than 800 missions, more than 200 missions protecting bombers, and never lose a bomber. That's a feat that will never be equal again in the United States Air Force. Not only did they do that, but they hold the highest academic pilot scores as a group than any pilot group in the United States Air Force. But these men were in a segregated world down in Alabama, learned to fly and learned to become great airmen, great humanitarians, and they fought the double V. The victory against segregation in the United States and the victory against fascism of Hitler's fortress Europe. 66 of the Tuskegee Airmen died in defense of this country. There's Charles McGee. He's flown more Air Force missions than any pilot in the United States Air Force. Do anybody know who Colonel Charles McGee is? No one knows. And that's what I feel is God has put me here to do, to be their legacy, to be their mouthpiece, to to tell their story. And my job now is to carry on their legacy, not only of the Tuskegee Airmen, but all the aviators that came before them. Because the greatest aviator in history was a woman, Bessie Coleman. She was from Waxahachie, Texas. She died at a very young age, but she was one of the greatest heroes of my life was Bessie Coleman. In the history of people flying around the world, there's only been one African American that's flown around the world. I want to be the second African American to fly around the world in honor of the Tuskegee Airmen and all black aviators that came before them. I want to do it in a P-51 Mustang, just as the same as the Tuskegee Airmen fly. They're very expensive to fly, they're high maintenance, but it can be done if we have the right backing and the right help. I mean, flying a plane around the world is no different than flying from here to Tucson. It has to be planned, it has to be worked out, the math of it, the science of it, the weather of it, what it entails to do it, and you have the right people there in your crew. We can do this. We can give back to this legacy that these Tuskegee Airmen gave to this country.
My name is Yolanda Bonet. I am the president of the American Legion Auxiliary here in Arizona. I'm serving for the year 2017-2018. Our mission is to support the American Legion by honoring the sacrifice of those who serve, by enhancing the lives of our veterans, military, and their families, both at home and abroad. We advocate for veterans, educate our citizens, mentor youth, promote good citizenship, Americanism, peace, and security.
I wanted to be in the military since I was a kid.
I served in the United States Air Force.
I served a total of 16 years.
I was deployed 13 times.
On my second deployment, 4 bombs hit my vehicle.
And at 19 years old, that's the first time I ever saw somebody die.
Coming back, I was raging.
I started having pretty horrible nightmares.
I would wake up in the middle of the night, sweats.
I started drinking a lot.
I felt worthless.
I guess I never recognized it in myself.
Eventually, one day I just walked into the VA hospital and said I'd like to see somebody.
Don't suffer alone. You gotta find that link with somebody that'll make you let it go.
It all starts with going to the VA. There's a whole community of veterans that just want to help you out.
It's for the guys who couldn't come back, so you owe it to them to live well, because they're not here with their families.
We're a unique group of men and women that had fought for our countries in many different ways, and I'm proud to say that I am one of them. The military was a great time for me to really to grow, to mature, and give after me an opportunity to understand myself and understand, what we're doing in our world. It gave me a lot more appreciation going overseas to that I think that gives you a great appreciation for living here in the United States. And my father was always a very important part. He talked about his time in service too. In World War II, he was with the Army Air Corps. He had served different places, so I always listened to his stories. I was an entrepreneur at one time. I had my own business, and then we sold that. And then from there, I got into financial planning, financial services, and working with people and trying to help them with their own financial needs. Then I had a moment, a tamale moment. And, for all my life, my mother had always told us that we need to get together to make tamales. And so I've always wanted to do something for my mother. And so I said, Mom, I'm gonna write a book about this. I'm gonna write a book about this family tradition, about you. So yeah, after 3 years, I was able to have my first book, Sophia's Awesome Tamale Day. And Sophia is my mother's name, so that's how I got that. That was easy to pick. Yeah, so that was the first one, Sophia's Awesome Tamale Day. The second one, I realized that people kept on saying, there's a real need for these type of books. And so I realized that what I was writing were books that were teaching kids about their traditions and culture and being proud of their heritage. And I also wanted to add a little bit of history in there. But the really thing is, as I continued to write more, I found out is that I wanted them to also honor their parents, their ancestors. And so after writing these books, after writing 2 or 3 books, I realized that I had a model. And the model was, I wanted this message that I wanted to share with the kids. This is important that these kids should understand this. The second thing was that Sophia, this young girl, she's the one that provides life learning experiences. And then the third thing was Pepe the Parrot. And Pepe the Parrot has really been incredible. The kids really relate to the parrot. And so Pepe has become, he's probably the most famous out of everybody in the book, in the stories. And he gets to have the last word. He gets to teach the kids new words in Spanish. He's the one that says all the funny jokes. He's a funny guy. So when I ask after the story, I read it in classrooms, and when they share this story, they all want to know more about Pepe. Where did Pepe come from? And is Pepe going to be in the next book? And so, but you asked me about the names of the books. So that was the first book, Sophia's Awesome Tamale Day. The second book is called The Search for the Lost Art of Making Tortillas. And I got that idea because my grandmother made tortillas every day. My mother, she made them less. My sisters think going to Costco is making tortillas. The next story was about Isabella's treasure. And this is a story about Sophia trying to find her family's treasure, and along the way discovers the real treasure about knowing your family's history. And it was at this point I realized that a lot of kids in school today have a problem with their identity. They hear things in the radio and the television, and they're very concerned about who they are and where they came from and where they belong. So I wanted to share this story about Sophia and her ancestor Isabella, teaching kids about their culture, tradition, and being proud of their heritage, and honoring and respecting their ancestors. That's the real key to all my books. The first one, the tamale book, which is Sophia's Awesome Tamale Day, that's about bringing family together, that family tradition of tamales. The Search for the Lost Art of Making Tortillas, that's about keeping those traditions alive and keeping family together like that. I just feel like I'm helping our community to be better.
For decades, women have been an integral part of our armed forces, answering the call of duty and making sacrifices to protect our country. In addition to their military roles, these women are mothers, wives, partners, students, community leaders. From their military experiences emerge new strengths and skills, which are carried over to civilian life.
Military taught me how to be stronger, how to have faith in myself, to trust my instincts, to fight when I needed to. It taught me how to be a leader. And once I learned how to be a better leader, I learned how to be a better mother.
But this strength can be tested at times, as women face life challenges during and after their service.
You're expected to be one of the guys, and you strive to be one of the guys. You're just trying to be like your brothers next to you, which can be challenging because you kind of lose your identity as a woman.
Going from being in the military and then having to build my own life from scratch, that was, a source of anxiety, and that got worse.
At some point you get tired of your life as it is, or I got tired of my life as it was and needed to do something about it.
Resources and support are available to help veterans and their loved ones move forward with their lives.
My name is Yolanda Bonet. I am the president of the American Legion Auxiliary here in Arizona. I'm serving for the year 2017-2018. Our mission is to support the American Legion by honoring the sacrifice of those who serve, by enhancing the lives of our veterans, military, and their families, both at home and abroad. We advocate for veterans, educate our citizens, mentor youth, promote good citizenship, Americanism, peace, and security.
I served in the United States Air Force.
I served a total of 16 years.
I was deployed 13 times.
On my second deployment, 4 bombs hit my vehicle.
And at 19 years old, that's the first time I ever saw somebody die.
Coming back, I was raging.
I started having pretty horrible nightmares.
I would wake up in the middle of the night, sweats.
I started drinking a lot.
I felt worthless.
I guess I never recognized it in myself.
Eventually, one day I just walked into the VA hospital and said I'd like to see somebody.
Don't suffer alone. You gotta find that link with somebody that'll make you let it go.
It all starts with going to the VA. There's a whole community of veterans that just want to help you out.
It's for the guys who couldn't come back, so you owe it to them to live well, because they're not here with their families.
We matter because we support our veterans community. We have been doing this since 1919. We advocate for veterans because they come back and a lot of them are basically lost. Not only physically, but mentally. So the need is there. The families need so much. They've given so much. And our mission is to advocate for veterans, the community, and children. And we support, all our programs support their 4 pillars. And their 4 pillars are Veterans Affairs and Rehabilitation, National Security, Americanism, and Children and Youth. As far as children and youth, we support Boys State, Girls State. We support junior shooting sports, the oratorical contest, the Americanism essay contest, and basically anything in the community that supports children. That's our future. If we don't take care of our children, where are we going to be in 20, 30, 40 years? They need to learn our American values. That is why they're important. No matter where you come from, we're a melting pot, and we need to melt a little bit better.
My words of encouragement to any young person is get a strong, viable education. Work hard on getting an education. Use every scrap of intelligence and books that you can read, every scrap of knowledge you can get will pay dividends down the road. Get an education. Be a man. Be a good citizen. Be a person of worth. And the world will pay you back triple-fold, thousand-fold in dividends. I'm living proof that it's not where you come from, it's where you want to go and where you end up. And I'm a man who come from humble beginnings, but I feel now I'm respected in my field. I'm a light to young people, and that's what I want to be. That's my words of encouragement.
My words of encouragement would be, one, to know what you want, to understand, these are my goals, this is my dream. Two, I think it's so important that you get an education and utilize all the benefits and resources from the military to able to get the education and continue to educate yourself. Work hard and realize the resources that you have available to you based on the goals that you want to. But work hard at what you're trying to do and never give up.
This program was made possible in part by the American Legion Auxiliary Department of Arizona and the West Valley Foundation, celebrating diversity.